Hi everybody, John here with Milano Music. I'd like to talk a little bit about our brass care kit. This particular package will cover several instruments. Let's take a look at that. It will be used for cornet, trumpet. This is a marching French horn or mellophone. It'll also be used for baritone, and it can even be used for trombone. Let's take a look at what we have in the care kits. The first thing you're going to have is a bottle of valve oil. This works on all piston valves, and it also will work on the trombone slide. This is slide grease. It's not for the main trombone slide, but it's for tuning slides on the instruments, and we'll look at that in a moment as well. And then the third component that is very important is our mouthpiece brush. Let's take a look at the valve oil and how to utilize this. This is for piston valves. Every one of the instruments that I showed has piston valves. Piston valves are the valves that go up and down, like a piston in a car. One of the things to keep in mind is that they only really go in one way, and they have to be placed in the correct position. And what does that is the valve guides themselves. So how do we oil? Let's start with that. What I like to do is leave the instrument laying on its side if possible, and just put a little bit of oil on each side of the valve. Then you have your valve guide, and inside of there's these notches that they fit into. So inside of the valve casing, there are notches. So what I do is I set it in and I spin it slightly, and it clicks and drops. Now, it may not be in the right place, so to check it, I blow air through it. If you have it in the wrong spot, let's turn it 180 degrees so it's exactly wrong, but it actually drops into its spot, so you think, oh, it's there. This is how you find out if you have it in the right spot. No air is going through. So you pick it up, rotate it, and when it drops, and you can put air through it, that way you know it's in the correct position. So it's very important to get the valve in the correct position with the valve guides in the right spot. And that's how to make sure that that happens. And on all the instruments, it is the same. If you rotate it and blow through, you're going to find the spot where it drops into place and you have air going through. That way you know it's correct. Let's take a look at how this oil works for the trombone. This is a lubricant, and it will lubricate the main slide. On your trombone, you have something called a slide lock. That holds your slide in place so it doesn't fall out. So what you need to do is grip it in such a way that you're holding your slide and releasing your slide lock, so now the slide will move. So what I like to do is just carefully set the slide on the ground, and then use a little bit of oil here on the slide. On both sides, you put a little bit of oil, rotate it over, put a little bit of oil, and then what you have to do is work the oil into the slide. So you move it back and forth, and then you set the slide a little bit further out, put a little bit of oil further down on the slide, rotate it around, a little bit further down on the slide, and work that section around. Now you have a slide that should be working very smooth and very easy. Again, when you're done, make sure you put the slide lock back into place so the slide doesn't fall out. Let's take a look at the tuning slide grease. This is to lubricate our slides. If they're not lubricated, they get stuck and you can't get them out. When they're lubricated, they're easy to move and you can remove them with ease. What I like to do is make sure that I get lubricant on the entire tube. And I put a little bit on my finger, and then I put it onto the slide or the tube, and I work it in with my finger so that I know that the whole tube is covered. Let's do that with the other side. Then I have a paper towel, and I clean my finger. So when we replace the slide in after lubricating it, what I like to do is I like to put it in on each side and spin it around just a little bit if I can. That ensures that the whole inner tube now is lubricated as well. So then we place the slide back on the instrument and put it back in. Now you have a very nice lubricated slide. When we lubricate our slides, there are some things that we have to do when we're dealing with the slides that come off of the valves. When you remove a slide, you want to push down the valve so you're releasing air pressure and it lets the slide come out. If you have a slide stop like this is a screw that screws in and out. What you're going to need to do is either remove it or back it out so that it allows the slide to come in and out. On this particular slide, as you can see, you've got one inner tube on the slide and you have an inner tube on the horn as well. So you have to grease both of these. Again, it's the same process. Work the grease in to both inner tubes. And then, again, I like to put them in separately if I can. Make sure that they go in smooth, and then place both, press our valve down, release the air pressure, slide that in. Then we put our set screw, if you have one, back into place so that when you are playing your instrument, it won't slide all the way out. So that's how to grease or lubricate our slides. I would recommend that we oil our valves and lubricate our slides approximately once a week. At least do your valves once a week. They may need it more. Your slide on the trombone may need more. And this is your main tuning slide, and you need to keep it lubricated as well with the tuning slide grease. It's the same process. So keep your instrument well lubricated and it'll treat you right. The third piece of equipment is the mouthpiece brush. And this is a very important component of the care kit. You want to keep your mouthpiece very clean for several reasons. One is hygiene and one is for proper performance of your instrument. So in order to keep the mouthpiece clean, what you do is you go to your sink, it can be your kitchen sink, and take just a little bit of liquid dish soap, doesn't really matter what kind, but just put a couple drops on the brush and have the brush a little bit moist under warm water. And then what you do is you take the brush and you insert it and you turn it like this from both the front side and the back side, and then you scrub it a little bit, rinse it out, repeat, rinse, repeat, and rinse under the water. Then rinse your brush under the water, shake it out a little bit, get the moisture off of it. So I recommend doing this process at least once a week. It'll keep your mouthpiece nice and clean, keep you healthy, and it'll make sure that performance of your instrument is as good as possible. The last component that we've included in the care kit is a practice log. This is something that you can use to keep track of your practice. And that way, if your teacher's requiring you to show a practice log, you have one right here. If you have any questions about how to take care of your instrument, please feel free to give us a call here at Milano Music. We're located in downtown Mesa, and our phone number is 480-827-1111.